we've got a question here about the review process. So we talked about there's this window of a few months in which to apply. Paul mentioned about the unknown exactly, but probably several months before all of those initial applications are settled and are decided on. So we have a question which is, will that decision process, that 5 months, 12 months, is that going to depend on the number of applications? I mean, if we wind up with 3,000 applications rather than, say, 500, is that what's going to make that longer? Is that...
Yes.
All right.
Yes. I think what you can expect is, let's say there were 3,000 applications. I think what you can expect is that within some weeks of the closing of the application process, you will know who all the 3,000 applicants were and what the strings were. And if you're then if you're in competition with somebody for a string, the opportunity starts, and you'd be talking to those people and figuring out your gaming. Deloitte is the example we gave before. I would expect, from what ICANN staff have said today, this is not definitive. They have not made a final statement. I expect that they will try to batch applications in numbers around the 500, and they will probably try to do it in a fairly random way. They may not, but I think that'd be more likely. But they're also likely to put, if for instance there were 2 Deloitte applications, that they would put those in the same batch, so that there's not a time differentiation between the two. Then once each of they would then just do the 500 batch, then do the next 500 batch, and do the next 500 batch. And each 500 batch may take 7 months to conclude. But if you're on the 6th batch, then you'll have to wait.
You'll be
waiting a while. Now that also potentially, I would expect if the demand was like that, and the fees ICANN might be an opportunity then to scale up its resources. It's going to be a good question about just resource constraint.
Another very specific question we saw is, will there be an opportunity to resell a top-level domain if you registered one that wasn't your brand name, and whether that was your initial thought as an investor, or whether you simply bought it and then you realized, your business model is not panning out, and you thought, you know what, maybe somebody else, I've got this asset, athletes, and my business is not succeeding, but I want to resell this to somebody else. How would that work? Or
well, we talked this before. One of the policy positions behind why ICANN is looking to see the TLDs be deployed is that it specifically does not want to set up a regime for speculation.
Okay.
The people would apply for just lots of names and just sit on them. However, to come to your point about can I sell, there is a history of the TLD process for the last 10 years that has shown instances where people have, where ownership of the TLD has shifted from one place to the other, and Jobs has been an example. I think we've also seen that in, I think Moby's actual ownership has changed over time. So there is certainly provision available for ownership of the TLD to move over time, and that's part of the sort of informing under the contract terms.
I think it's worth keeping in mind that you have to make a long-term commitment as part of this as well. And so, it's not the kind of thing that you're going to test out for a year or two. So selling is one thing. The other thing to recognize is, there is no easy exit, which might be the other reality here as well, because you have to set aside money. You have to, you have obligations. Frankly, imagine, because you may be buying a domain on someone else's top-level domain, so you need a commitment that that brand is going to be around.